Hello, my name is Mike, and these are not bikes. Now, I know some of you would prefer that I stick to motorcycles, but well, I'm waiting for parts and I'm looking for other projects. So I want to talk a little bit about, well, a major decision I have to make. You see, I wound up with two Toyota economy cars, and I really only need one. Am I going to keep the Prius-from-hell, or am I going to keep Tercle? So let's go down the run down the list and look at the different advantages and disadvantages to both vehicles. Stick around, you might make a choice like this in the future yourself.
Somewhere in a dusty, dirty back alley in western Arizona is an old fart trying to cram a square peg into a round hole. He'll work on anything, just as long as it's got at least two cool wheels. Now, you may wonder how I ended up with two Toyota economy cars. And really, it's just a matter of I have a little bit of a commute since I'm not monetized by YouTube yet. You know, you can't really get monetized till you have more than 6 subscribers. Oh, that's right. Carl quit. He's unsubscribed. You got to have more than 5 subscribers to get monetized. So I still work, and I have a rather long commute from western Arizona into California. So I needed something economical to do the task. So I got the Prius-from-hell. Now the Prius I got from my sister. It had a blown engine. I've subsequently had the engine in and out of that car 6 times. I replaced the transaxle in it. I've replaced the catalytic converter a couple times, oxygen sensors. I've had to replace the fuel tank because you can't get just a fuel pump for it. I've also had to send the instrument panel out for repair and the climate control screen out for repair. So this is where it gets its name, Prius-from-hell. But I love the technology, the ability to recapture lost energy when you come to a stop and recharge batteries. Now, it's not going to save the world. It's not an electric car per se. It's just an extremely well-designed, efficient vehicle. So anyway, I ran into this weird problem where I could not find a misfire. And it turns out it was not only a bad coil, but because my 12-volt accessory battery was low, I was getting all kinds of false readings. And I almost caught the car on fire trying to rig up a fuel system, try and duplicate fuel pressure, and all kinds of stuff. So I parked the car for a while. And even now that I've solved the drivability problem and got it running good again, I still have other issues. It's setting a code for an oxygen sensor. It's also got problems with the wheel pressure sensor, so it's showing that I have low tire at all times. And the clock spring, which is the mechanism in the steering wheel that sends power to the airbag, has also got a problem. I've replaced it 2 times already as well. So if I decide to keep it or sell it, either way, I've got to repair a whole bunch of stuff on this car just to do anything with it. And as you can see, when you turn the car on, well, there's a warning light for the airbag, a warning light for the bad oxygen sensor, and the flashing low tire pressure signal indicating it needs new sensors. The other negative thing about this car is that it's got, well, a lot of miles on it. Even though it's got a newer engine and a newer transaxle, this car has over 200,000 miles on it, 285,950 to be exact. And as a result of having done so much work on this car, I now have a lot of spare parts. I have a known good gas tank with fuel pump. I have a known good power inverter. I have a good lower end engine and a good transaxle, even though it's got a lot of miles on it. And I have a crate full of odds and ends parts, sensors, air cleaners, fuel injector rails, and a complete engine wire harness. Now, on the other hand, I have Tercle. So prior to the Prius having this strange fuel problem, which I have since resolved, I went out and bought Tercle. It sat in a field for 7 years because the fuel pump went out and it had a broken right quarter window. So it was just full of dust and dirt and debris. So it was messy more than anything else, but I knew it was a Toyota. It only had 130,000 miles on it. So after going through the fuel system, replacing the fuel pump and the fuel tank, and I went through a little bit of the cooling system, did a tune-up on it, put some new struts in it and so forth. And because I was still scratching my head on the Prius, this became my daily driver. I installed a stereo in it that has the hands-free feature so I could use my phone. One of the features I loved about the Prius, I now had in a much older car and kind of brought it up to date in that respect. This car runs really good. It's got a manual transmission, has very crisp acceleration, and because most of my miles are highway miles, it gets comparable fuel economy. So long story short, both have a similar size engine, get similar fuel economy, although the Prius is a little better in town, but most of my driving is done on the highway. And the other thing that makes them very comparable is they both end in the number 7. 97 Tercle, 2007 Prius. So in conclusion, here's how they compare. They both have similar size engines and fuel economy. They both have hands-free phone. They both have functioning air conditioning. The Prius has power windows. The Tercel does not. I don't care. The one thing I do miss that the Prius has that the Tercle does not have is the cruise control. So I may install that. But here's the bottom line. If I go to sell one of these cars, because I need the money, because I'm not yet monetized, I'll be able to get considerably more money by selling the Prius, even though it's got higher miles, than I will the Tercle. The Priuses really hold their value well, and especially for people like people who drive in town, Uber drivers, pizza delivery guys, stuff like that, these cars are in high demand. So I'm thinking I'm going to let the Prius-from-hell go and wash my hands of all that technology and just stick to the simpler, highly efficient Tercle. Now, if you'll excuse me, I've got some tire pressure sensors to install, and then I got to get this thing listed before something else goes wrong with it. So thanks for watching. Come back for the next video.